every place you're always selling yourself. I wish I learned it earlier when I was 18, when I was starting out. I was too shy to go out to meet people, to interact with them, to put myself out there. I thought, log kya kahenge? Most times, we don't realize that when you're selling, you're not selling to a thinking person. You're selling to an emotional person. McDonald's, be it Pepsi, be it Apple, be it Nike, they're all using this formula to sell and make billions and billions of dollars every year. What do you think is the most important skill to learn? Anyone, just raise your hand. Making money. No, not. That is not the most important skill. That is a byproduct of what you do. The most important skill to learn is sales. Sales. That's it. I was learning in engineering. I was learning, how to build websites. But I realized that I can build 100 different websites. I can build any app that I want. But if I don't know how to sell it to people, there's no point. I will never build something of value if I don't know how to sell myself. And this is important for you if you are running your own business, if you want a job. Every place you're always selling yourself. Me coming here, talking to you, is me selling myself. You creating content is you selling yourself and your ability to educate people online. So the idea of influencing someone to buy into something that you're selling is really powerful. And I want to get a volunteer to explain my point. Anyone can raise your hand. I want to make it interactive. Yes. Yes, come, you. What's your name? Yes. Come on the stage. So let's do a little activity. Hi, what's your name? Jill, I want you to sell me this AirPods. This is the AirPods. I want you to sell this to me. Can we get one more mic?
So actually there's a lot of noise here and I want to speak to somebody. Do you think I can speak now? You can't, right? So I think these earpods will be useful. Since there's a lot of noise and you want to speak something personal to somebody, don't you think you need these earpods?
I don't think there's noise. I can hear myself pretty clearly.
Guys, please make some noise. Can you hear now clearly?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Without mic, can you hear me clearly?
I can still hear you clearly. Yes, I can. Try again.
So these are branded earpods. So you look stylish if you wear them. One more thing. This is one of the necessities if you go to a noisy place if you want to talk something personal. So I think these earpods will be useful.
What else?
So yeah, I think this much is enough. Which is enough for you to buy these earpods.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ji. The first step of selling is to identify the pain. Understand what is the pain of this person. Don't even think about your product. Just ask questions. Understand, does this person really even have a pain? Is there any problem that this person is facing? And if there is one, and if your product can solve it, then we move on to the next step. You can tell 100 different features, but you will never really understand what they truly want unless you know the pain that they are going through. The first step is to identify the pain. Ask questions. Do you like listening to music? Do you often travel a lot in traffic? Do you want to focus on what you're doing and need some noise cancellation? Just ask questions, right? Most times, we don't realize that when you're selling, you're not selling to a thinking person. You're selling to an emotional person. You're always selling to their old brain. There are two brains in your brain, two parts of your brain. There's the new brain, and then there's the old brain. The old brain is what has always been with you for decades and centuries. It was developed when we were hunter-gatherers. Right? So it operates on flight or fight response. So it always looks for what is in it for me? How can I gain something from this? Right? So you have to understand how does the old brain operate. It's called neuromarketing, and I'll just tell you how it works so that you can sell effectively. That's the first step. What's the first step? Identify the pain by asking questions, by putting up surveys, by doing one-on-one conversations with people. What do you think is the second step to sell? Address the pain. That is true. How do you do that? You do that by, first of all, telling what is your claim of this product, right? So you differentiate by identifying the pain and then telling them what is the claim that your product has. There are only 6 ways that you can appeal to the old brain. This is 3, but there are 6 ways to do that. The first way is to have a message which is self-centered, directed to the audience. So you're always saying that, hey, I want to help you. Whenever you have a message which says you can speak better, you can lose weight, you can make more money, anything which is self-centered will always work really well because you're directly targeting the person's need to become better, to improve their old brain. The second way to appeal is to show them the contrast. How many of you have seen those ads in which there is one bald guy and then they say 6 weeks later, then there's a guy with some hair? You've seen those, right? You've seen those videos on YouTube in which it says, before you don't have any muscle, after 12 days you have muscle, right? What is that? That is contrast. So basically showing people that before this is what you look like and after this is what you look like. So this is a contrast, before and after. It's really effective. There's a reason why people always show it, because it really works. The third thing that you need to do to appeal to the old brain is to show something visually, right? Every ad that you see on billboards, every clever copywriting trick that you see Zomato or Zepto or Blinkit doing, it's all a great example of having a visual cue, making you stop and look at this ad for once. And this is powerful because you will hear the audio later and understand it later, but you will always immediately look at the visual and make a decision to care about this or not, right? So it needs to be very much visually appealing, whatever that you make, be it a thumbnail, be it an ad, be it anything that you want to sell to people. That's the third thing. The fourth thing is the start and the end. Whatever message you write, you have to make sure that the start of it and the end of that message is incredibly impactful. All of us are going through a lot of overload, right? You're looking at the stock, you're also looking at your WhatsApp messages, your Bumble notifications. There's so much overload, right? So the best way to not have that overload is to make sure that your language is simple to understand and you focus on the start of the message and the end of the message. That is really important. Okay, the context at the middle is often forgotten. That is why you need to focus on the start and the end. And at the end, you need to appeal to their emotions. How many of you have seen those stop tobacco, stop smoking ad before the movie runs? Everyone has seen it, right? Why do they show the images, the videos of people with the problem that they are facing, the cancer that they go through? Because they want to appeal to your emotion. They show a real, scenario. You're in a home, there's a dad, they have like a heart attack because of smoking or tobacco. They are appealing to your emotions. Because you can imagine yourself being in a situation like that if you're a dad. Or if you're a kid, then you can tell to your dad. This is how you appeal to the old brain and you make sure that your message is conveyed to them as much as possible. Okay, so that's how you showcase the claim that you have. At the end, you have to showcase your gain. What happens in the life of the user when they buy into your product, into your service, subscribe to you, follow you? How does their life change? So you need to show the gain in the life of the user. How do you show gain? Testimonial. That is the most effective way to show how this will be your gain. Because people can imagine themselves. You've all seen ads of Apple, right? Whenever you see an Apple ad, there is a person, there is a hero in an ad, right? Maybe he has an iPad, maybe they have an iPhone, maybe they have a MacBook, and their life is just so much more easier because of this one tool that Apple sells. It's a testimonial. You can imagine yourself in it. They are very cleverly choosing the target audience. If they create a budget level, entry level iPad, they'll have a student using it because they know that a lot of the students will end up buying this iPad. So they'll show like a day in the life, like you're a college student, you're going out, you're meeting people, doing video calls, you're writing something, notes with the Apple Pencil. They do all of that because they want you to imagine yourself in the shoes. Testimonial. What else? This is the most effective way to do it. Now you can show a demo that here's my website, here's my tool, you use it, and this is how it helps you. You show a demo. If you don't have a demo, then you show data. You've seen those toothpaste ads. They say 9 out of 10 doctors recommend this toothpaste. That's data. And people can be influenced by data. That, okay, this is the data and this makes sense and hence I should buy into it. It's not as effective as testimonials, but it still helps out. If you don't have anything, then you sell the vision. That this is what I set out to do and this is what we're trying to build. Are you in or not? So there's only 4 ways to showcase your game, right? The first one is to showcase the testimonials, the demo, data, and at the very end, you show the vision if you don't have anything. This is really powerful when you're trying to sell to people. This is how you actually sell to the old brain. And this, you can apply the exact structure to the best campaigns that you've seen, be it McDonald's, be it Pepsi, be it Apple, be it Nike. They're all using this formula to sell and make billions and billions of dollars every year. And if you can use this in your own life, maybe you want to become a freelancer, maybe you want to launch a product, maybe you want to work in a fast-growing startup. It'll be all about how can you sell yourself effectively by employing the same strategy, right? So you ask questions to understand the pain that they have. You showcase what your product does and how it is differentiated from others. And at the end, what you do is you showcase how this will help you become better. You show the game. That's it. I have worked with the biggest companies out there. I have acquired clients from a marketing company and it all works on this simple rule. I wish I learned it earlier when I was 18, when I was starting out. I was too shy to go out, to meet people, to interact with them, to put myself out there. I thought, log kya kahenge? Right? Like, what if someone says something? What if someone makes fun of me? How will I feel? How will I be looked at by people? How will I be perceived? Most of that doesn't matter in the long term. Now, the last thing that I wish I learned was how to write effectively. Right? Some of you said the most important skill to learn is communication. That's great. But the real skill, even before you become a better communicator, is how to write effectively. I always ask people who want to work with me to email me. Not because it is convenient for me. In fact, it's better for me to have a job application process and then hire them. But I'm always looking at how they write. Because how you write tells me a very important thing about yourself. How are you thinking? And I want to understand your thinking. Because if you can think about something clearly, if you can take a question, break it down into pieces, and try to solve it one by one, and give me a very clear way of thinking about it, that means that you understand how to solve problems. That means that you are great at critical thinking. That means that you can write effectively, and if you can do that, you'll probably be great at learning anything fast, at solving a new problem that you see. And that is what you will see going forward in the next 5 to 10 years. Right? It is not about the frequently asked interview questions that you have to memorize. It's about how can you learn to solve newer problems that you come across with the thinking that you have. So, if I was starting out as an 18-year-old, only 3 things that I would learn. First, I would say yes more often to every opportunity I get, to meet people, to interact with people, to connect with people, to learn new skills, to just do anything and everything possible for the next 2 years. I did that. I learned so many different skills and connected with people and got to start this YouTube channel coming outside of my comfort zone. The second, I wish I learned to sell better. I told you the way to do it. It's very simple: the pain, the claim, and the gain. And the last thing, I wish I learned how to write effectively. And that will help me to think clearly and improve my critical thinking. These are the three most important things I wish I learned. That's all. That was a talk. All right, let's make a story. I want you all to stand up. You've been an incredible audience. Thank you so much for coming over here. Let's make a reel or a story. Hi everyone, I'm here at EIMR in Bangalore. Had an amazing chat about how to sell and think with clarity. And this was the audience.